morning. Let's start with one of the things I read this morning. Deuteronomy. In Deuteronomy, OT style, Israel style, which for no other purpose than the Lord's own joy to show Himself, shows the smallest people, the smallest collection of citizens of whatever on earth to show His nature. I mean, having always shown His nature in creation, but then specifically to then interact with those people and chart out a grand design. All right. Anyway, Deuteronomy 10, 14. Where is 14? 12, 13, 14. There we go. Indeed, heaven and the highest heavens belong to the Lord your God, also the earth with all that is in it. I love the highest heavens, man. They fixed Hubble. Some beautiful stuff up there. The Lord delighted only in your fathers to love them, and He chose their descendants after them, you above all peoples, as it is this day. Now, take a second on this one, but listen to it. Get past the joke. Therefore circumcise the foreskin of your heart, and be stiff-necked no longer. Come on, you get that part. For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. He administers justice for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and clothing. Therefore love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall fear the Lord your God, you shall serve Him, and to Him you shall hold fast and take oaths in His name. He is your praise, and He is your God, who has done for you these great and awesome things which your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down to Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord your God has made you as the stars of heaven in multitude. That's so funny, because that is dag true. Because you don't go too far without running into some Israelites. Anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Anywhere. God's chosen people. That's pretty cool. And then pretty cool, that He would, again, choose so humble a thing. And then the Lord delighted also in your fathers. He chose them not because of who they are. The Old Testament gives you story after story of actually how unworthy they were of the mantle. And still to this day, if you look at kind of how Israel, the nation, rolls, little suspect, eh? But that doesn't matter. We're all a little suspect. But the Lord delights in calling those He calls to Himself. It is a joy to Him, and it is a joy to Him that He calls those to righteousness that are to be called to righteousness. You know what I mean? It's His joy to fulfill our purpose. Isn't that interesting? I think that's really cool. That He delights in it. It is His delight. It joys the heart of the Creator of the universe. That's pretty cool. And that's my eagerness today, is just to be a joy to His heart and walk in faith, which I will get to more in a second. And then here in Hebrews, that's right, there's a bit of a theme. We are the nation of Israel, by the way, now. All those who fall upon the offer, the covenant, or are struck by the covenant of the Lord. Israel is us. In no nation sense, in no way that needs a giant fence or a wall, but a way in which we have been fortified by a covenant with the holy and righteous and joyful God. So yay, Israel, in that sense. Hebrews 12:2. Let's just go for them first, because the first one's pretty good and well quoted, often quoted. Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Now, why did I read those? To me, both of those are leading me to just more and more radical faith. Radical in the sense of, I often speak of putting away my own understanding, but both of those speak to faith in he who has said who he was, for me has called me to see who he is, has proven even, though he need not, to be who he is, and does so at his pleasure, and takes hold of my life and moves in my life at his pleasure. So for me to be like, Lord, what's the point of all this struggling I'm going for? Is this, I'm just, it's so easy for me to fall back into that light at the end of the tunnel thinking, oh, I go through these struggles in order to blank. You know what, all of it. Joys, struggles, he has it all. I'd finally gotten to the point where I've kind of given him a lot of the day-to-day stuff. Given him, listen to me. Release, just let it go, for gosh sakes. He was already in control. And he's just calling for even more of me now. Which I'm happy to give. You know what? Because he gave all in creating and in calling and in sacrificing of himself, that I might be set free. So I'm free. So what am I running around in bondage of, oh man, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to make this happen, and I've got to figure out this thing, and he's in control of it all. And my job is to follow him, to listen to his word on my heart, to study his word in the world, man, just to do all I can to follow his righteousness and let him transform me and let him carry me all my days. I'm not in sloth of doing nothing, absolutely. No, there's a lot of things he's already asked me to do. So do those things and be those things, Brendan, is what he says today. And join the proud nation, the nation of the heavens, not this nation of the earth, but the nation of the beyond. And that he called Israel, and he made a covenant of Israel, and he told Israel who he was, and what gave him pleasure, and what gave him joy. And his joy also is in us. And since that was never going to be complete, he fulfilled his covenant in that final stage with Jesus Christ. And then that even expanded beyond the boundaries of traditional Jerusalem and traditional Israel, that we might all be Jews, that we might all be chosen. And I'm going to walk in steadfastness and faith of that. I am chosen. Whom then shall I fear, and what am I worried about? What am I worried about? Goodness gracious.